Welcome to the Wrexham Coffee Matchup. I'm Dave.
And I'm Courtney. Each week, we'll take a few minutes to catch up on the latest news from Wrexham. From matchups to transfers, on and off the pitch, we'll share our takes on it all.
So grab a coffee and join us. Hey Courtney, it's good to see you again. How's your week going?
Yeah, not bad. It's second week in a row. We're back here, back to talk about Wrexham. Did you watch the match last weekend?
So not only did we get to watch the match, but I believe we both were able to watch I Follow with Mark, Mia, and Andy without major hiccups, which was a nice change of pace for the season.
That's true. Just a really minor one with audio at the beginning that it was a little bit quiet. I think one thing that I really love is how Mark doesn't just say, reach out via ask, the hashtag ask WXM on Blue Sky on X, whatever, he actually is reading them. He's actually taking that in. He kind of looks and says, oh, wait, people are saying that there are issues. And then, of course, I said to you, as I have said every match since the beginning of time, but I only hear Mark. Where's Andy and Mia? And you say they're on the field for the pregame stuff.
Only on the home matches, but it is easy to forget that those happen. I enjoy them if I wake up early, just to be able to get sort of the preview, see the pre-game interviews. And then afterwards, I do hang around to watch just for the post-match interviews and just to see how all the other teams do. Because I used to follow the scores in real time as the matches were going on. And Google Scores updates the standings as people score. And so I get very
for other matches.
And so standings shift like 5 or 6 times during a match. So I just decided to wait until after the match and then I log in and see where we ended up for that week.
Which makes sense because, it can save potentially a little bit of stress.
Especially at the end of the season. It's still very early in the season. We're only 5 matches in. We have a long, long way to go, which I'm sure we are going to talk about right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So this week it was Queen's Park Rangers, QPR. Started off as almost every match this season started off with us coming really fast out of the gate. And then, unfortunately, it didn't go our way. So what were your thoughts this week?
Yeah, I almost wrote to you, I missed Mark calling out the starting lineup, but did he not call out anybody in the midfield? It just felt like we had players on both ends, but kind of nobody in the middle. And I know that, there are some players on the QPR team that are just really fast. Really noticed that. It's kind of like all of a sudden, zoom, they're there. But it just felt like there's some holes.
Definitely some holes. I felt like we had really solid moments where we controlled the match for 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time, where in the first half specifically, we just weren't getting it in the goal. We weren't getting the opportunities to score. But in the instances where they did score against us, it was often the case of we were controlling the field and then all of a sudden, boom, they took it away across the field in the goal. They got a goal and we weren't able to recover fast enough to that. And it got worse, I felt, as the game went on. Keiffer Moore's goal in the second half really gave us an energy and I thought that was going to turn it around for us. But then they pulled the trick again twice on us and we just weren't able to catch up. It was a very unfortunate display, that's for sure.
Well, I also think a couple of things. I don't think that the score fully reflects how we played. Because we did get a couple of chances. We did have, some near goals. Of course they did as well. But I also think that exactly like you said, we had quite a few substitutions in the second half. And it did feel like there was a renewed sort of push. But I think we just didn't have enough yet. And I wonder, I don't think it's, oh no, what's happening this season? We're only a couple matches in. We've still got how many matches left?
We still have 41 matches to go, which is a very long way to go. And
Very
I'm
long.
not disappointed in how the team is playing. I'm just
Mhm.
wondering two things. One, everyone talked about the international break, and does that give you sort of time for the team to come together and pull together as a team? But also at the same time, did it kind of halt the momentum?
Yeah.
That after our win with Millwall, like we came off that Millwall victory, everyone was energized. If we had gotten out there the next Saturday with almost the same lineup we had the previous Saturday, would that have made a difference? And we don't know, of course. And then
Mhm.
we have players that haven't even made an appearance yet on the squad, on the field. I mean, they've been on the bench perhaps, but there's still a lot of mixing and matching to go on over the coming weeks.
And that's really something that I'm thinking of too. Even if, um, even if we'd played the next week, there are some players that at that point had been on the team for how long? Days. Just days at that point. And even if they're not in the starting lineup, even if they're not on the bench, the point is that bringing different people in, your atmosphere is going to be different, in the practice field, in the locker room. Like, it's just going to be a little bit of a different feel until you start to figure out your ways of working together as a team. And I think that that's just a big part of what we're seeing. I mean, we are 2 weeks past September 1st right now. That is not a lot of time. So I think we just need to give it a little bit. Okay, so that's where we stand on QPR. Now we're a couple of league matches in. We're a couple of cup matches in. What are your thoughts overall on the season so far, Dave?
Like I mentioned, I'm still very hopeful that this team, all these amazing signings that we brought in, will gel together and they'll figure out the system that will work. There's definitely some integration that still needs to go on. We have several signings who have not yet made it onto the pitch. For instance, Dominic Hyam was off playing for Scotland last week, and Issa Kabore was off playing for Burkina Faso. Both names that we haven't seen. They were signed at the very last minute of the transfer window. Ben Sheaf made his first appearance on the field for a few minutes at the end of the match. Not quite enough for us to get a good sense of who he is and how he plays. So I think over the next, we have 3 matches in the next 10 days, which is a good opportunity to really get the rotation going and figure out sort of what our strengths are on the field and how we can translate these moments of playing very quality football into actually scoring and winning games, which is something I'm looking forward to. What do you think?
Moments into minutes or multiple minute stretches even. That would be great. No, I agree. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. But I think another thing is that, we're going to have more changes in the lineup, right? We're going to have some people that are going to come back that we haven't seen in a little while. As you said, we start to figure out where is the place for everyone, the new people who have just joined, our players that have been around for a bit longer, we need to sort of see where do we end up.
So there's one thing I think we will both agree on, and we
Mm-hmm.
kind of mentioned this during the match, is that Keiffer Moore is a winner for Wrexham. And he has really quickly come to embody sort of that spirit of the team. And I could easily see him taking that leadership role of the team this season. I mean, in 6 appearances, he has scored 5 goals, 4 of those in the league, and he's now in the top 5 scorers of the championship as of this week. So if we can keep that up and then figure out how best to partner him and service that, then I think that we have a lot of momentum that we can build off of.
For sure. And I think as well, because there have been so many changes in, who is a member of the team, right? I think it's also about, exactly like you said, filling in those holes, figuring out where do we need strength and who has that strength. I don't think it's a matter of we don't have that. I think it's a matter of figuring out who fills that role and where.
And how do the injured players fit in when they come back, right? I mean, we've been seriously missing Ollie Rathbone. You talked about the hole in the middle of the field. I mean, that is a big hole. Our Energizer bunny has been seriously needed over the last couple of weeks.
To be fair to him, to be very fair to him, he's not just in one part of the field. He's everywhere. So yeah, we've definitely felt that for sure.
Right. And both Josh Windass and Libby Kakache, who had early appearances at the beginning of the season, then got injured, they should be coming back soon. And so like they had just started to get their taste of where they fit into the team. Now we're going to have to start that whole process all over again. So I'll be curious to see how it all meshes in the coming weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe just thinking back to last week's episode, 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about the 25-person roster. I didn't realize at the time, or actually maybe I did and you said it, and I've just forgotten right now, that there were actually only 24 names that were on the list.
Right. And so there was, right after the roster was released, there was the injured players of Ollie Rathbone, who didn't make the list. Andy Cannon didn't make the list. And there's a couple
Jay
others,
Rodriguez.
Right? Yes, Jay Rodriguez. So Jay Rodriguez, I believe he broke
Danny
his
Ward.
ankle. Yeah, so Jay Rodriguez had surgery earlier this year, so he wouldn't return earlier than January if he returns at all. Danny Ward had gone out with an elbow injury with his surgery, so he probably wouldn't be able to come back before January. But Parkinson did say that Ollie has been on the field practicing with the team. And so it looks like that he'll be the first one to reclaim that extra spot and make it back onto the team.
So I can't allow a moment where I could reference Ollie Palmer to come up and not reference him. So I'm going to think back to, this was definitely a year ago. No, it was definitely last season. We hadn't seen him play in a couple of matches. We hadn't heard anything, but we just hadn't seen him play. And you forwarded me one of the stories posted on Instagram by the Wrexham team. And it was just players on the practice field. And it was Ollie Palmer. And you sent it to me and you said, proof of life.
And it purposely came out like on a Thursday before a match day. So they did want us to know. They were very cautious to make sure that we all knew that he is still part of the team at that point. And so I think we'll start to see some of these proof of life photos from these guys. I think Libby was in the photo batch that came out last week. I think he's been on the field practicing as well. Okay.
So you said that Phil Parkinson, mentioned that he's been back on the field, but is there proof? Have we seen it yet?
We will double check that. Yes.
Different Ollie Watch now.
It'll make a lot of people happy when he's back, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. We talked before about your first trip to Wrexham, where you flew into London and drove up to Wrexham. And I think we started to share a little bit that after that year, you and I have started that tradition that we go to Wrexham at the start of every year and see a match together.
Right. So we've done 2 trips so far. Both of them were in January. So our last trip was January of 2025. And we're refining how the trip planning works, and we're kind of figuring out what works best. But I imagine getting our calendars synced was always the first challenge. So I know we've identified the window in February for 2026 when we're looking to come. And of course, me flying from America and using points for the flights, I've already had to buy my tickets. But we did decide, because last year when I went in January, I bought my tickets. And then about 3 weeks before the match, the EFL television schedules came out, and it moved the Birmingham match that I was going in to watch to before when my flight was. And so I had to jump through a bunch of hoops and make some changes to my flight. I was able to do it. So I was able to get there on the morning of the Birmingham match, and I was able to not miss it. So this year we've decided wisely for your plane tickets that we'll wait until the schedules are announced on November 7th. Then we'll figure out which of the 2 matches that happen that week work best for your work schedule and your life schedule. And then we'll make our arrangements for that. So I'm very much looking forward to these trips. They're kind of the highlight of my year. So.
Me too, for sure. I think the other thing that we are, witnessing in real time is how things change every year. When I first went, we were in League 2. The beginning of this year, we were in League 1. Now we're in the Championship. And I remember getting tickets both times has been a little bit of a, okay, we're on the phone with each other. We're both trying to log in. We've got our accounts linked so that we can try to get tickets together. Oh, I've got tickets here. Oh, I've got tickets here. And I am not entirely sure that that's going to happen this year. I don't know if one of us will get tickets. I don't know if both of us will get tickets. We actually haven't talked about a backup plan. Or we just, there would be no way to watch it at the turf. It'll be packed.
So I know that, the first year I went, we were still in the National League, and there were only 3 stands at that point, right? So when we first went, there was a dedicated international fans section where there were 50 tickets for each match. And so we were able to work through that system of click, click, click really fast to get the point. When the temporary cop came up, they did away with that section. And then this year, because we were promoted and they took away the temporary cop altogether, there's just this mass push for tickets, right? So they've instituted a new system where it's all lottery. So if you don't have a season ticket, then anyone who wants a home seat has to go through the lottery. So I think since we're looking at me hopefully attending 2 matches and you 1, and they say that if you have not been to a match, then there is some priority associated with that submission. And luckily you can enter the ballot for both of us because we're in the same family in the system as our membership. So if you put in your ballot entry for the 2 of us for one of the matches, and then I put in my ballot entry for the other match, then I would take the risk of getting, hopefully we get both. Hopefully I get one. Hopefully we get the one where you're there. But I've also become really the master of the resale website, where the season ticket members who can't make it then put it back up on the marketplace, and it's through the regular ticket site. But you just have to check every few hours in the days up to the match, and then just be ready and jump on them as soon as you can. And we've also learned it's okay if the seats aren't exactly next to each other. As a couple years ago, our seats were 5 seats apart. And once you get there, no one really seems to care.
No.
So you say, can I sit with my
Everybody's
friend?
just
Sure.
happy to be there.
No problem. But we will figure something out. I'm guaranteed that we will work the system.
What are your thoughts on chances of us getting tickets the first time we try?
I'm hoping that by then the mass hysteria of everyone trying to do the ballots will have calmed down a little bit. And because we're looking at February, we're looking middle of winter, probably it's not going to be nice weather. So I'm hoping that there'll be a little bit of a less demand for those tickets. And so fingers crossed.
Okay. We have gotten tickets to Adele twice, 2 separate occasions. Actually, I think 3 separate concerts in 2 separate cities. If we can do that, I think we can find a way.
I totally agree with you. On this Saturday, we're up against Norwich City. So Norwich City is currently 10th in the standings, so they're ahead of us in the table. They're a long-time championship squad. They've made several little, I call them peaks into the Premier League. When I was doing a little bit of research on them, they've won the championship many times and then spent maybe 1, if not 2 seasons in the Premier League and then back down into the Championship League. So over the last 20 years, they've been a Premier League team, a little bit here and there. But I think they're a very solid squad with a strong backing, and they look like they're playing very well this season. So I'm predicting a tough match on Saturday. So hopefully we'll get some of that gelling coming up.
And then just a couple days later, we've got the 3rd round of the Cup at home versus Reading. Any news about Jack Marriott? Do we know for sure?
I haven't checked to see if he'll be able to play or not, but he did score again this week against Reading. So he is quickly turning out to be a very, very valuable member of the Reading team, which they'll need as they kind of make their way through the League One season.
Well, that's all we have time for. Thanks for joining us this week. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
You can also email us at wxmcoffeematchup@gmail.com. All one word, that's wxmcoffeematchup@gmail.com. Or you can follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at wxmcoffeematchup.
From the cop to your coffee cup, that's all for today's Wrexham Coffee Matchup. Keep it brewing, keep it red, and as always, up the town. We don't need to clap anymore.